going on, Pops?
Once again, it's on.
Once again, it's on. Welcome back, world, to another episode of Treys podcast. It's me, Son Trey, and always with me is Pop Trey. Pops, you want to go ahead and let them know why we do this every episode?
And every episode, man, we do this specifically to bridge the gap between fathers and sons, between the youth and the elders, to bring truth and knock out the brains of falsehood. I got that from Minister Farrakhan. Yes, indeed. And to bring the community of Black people stronger and bring awareness to everything that is falsified out there about who we are. You know what I mean? Strict positivity, no negativity, no drama, no gossip talk, none of that. We leave that for your other guys. You know what I mean? But right here,
over there.
Indeed. Hey, what you got playing in the background, son?
Hey, Pops. I'm feeling it tonight. You know, we're on late tonight.
Yeah. New time.
It's our first late night show. So
right.
I thought it was, good to put on some classics. I had some Al Green on vinyl, so I had to put that on.
Okay. We might
get the vibe right for us.
Yeah, you might want to pause that for a second, son, because we don't have any clearances or even copyrights to the song, anything.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we can say the fair use thing, but who knows, man? You know what I mean?
Word, Pops. So I'll go ahead and turn off the lovely Al Green. You go ahead and get into the honorable mention for today.
Indeed. If you want to pull up the we're about to discuss here.
Yes, sir.
It's groovy, man. Yes, sir. The honorable mention tonight. And, go ahead, pause that, son. Go ahead, pause that real quick. Can you pause it? All right. The honorable mention tonight, is somebody who just celebrated a birthday not too long ago, a few days ago, and well respected. Pull him up there, son. I will call him the Honorable Marcus Josiah Garvey. You got him up? You got him up? Yeah. Yes, sir. Marcus Garvey was born into a moderately prosperous Afro-Jamaican family in St. Ann's Bay, and he was apprenticed into the print trade as a teenager. Working in Kingston, he got involved in trade unionism before he briefly lived in Costa Rica, Panama, and England. After he returned to Jamaica, he founded the UNIA in 1914. In 1916, he moved to the United States and established a UNIA branch in New York City's Harlem district. Emphasizing unity between Africans and the African diaspora, he campaigned for an end to European colonial rule across Africa and advocated the political unification of the continent. He envisioned a unified Africa as a one-party state, governed by himself, that would enact laws to ensure Black racial purity. Although he never visited the continent, he was committed to the Back to Africa movement, arguing that part of the diaspora should migrate there. Garvey's ideas became increasingly popular and the UNIA grew in membership. However, his Black separatist views and his relationship with white racists like the Ku Klux Klan, in the interest of advancing their shared goal of racial separatism, caused a division between Garvey and other prominent African-American civil rights activists such as W.E.B. Du Bois, who promoted racial integration. Believing that black people needed to be financially independent from white-dominated societies, Garvey launched various businesses in the U.S., including the Negro Factories Corporation and Negro World newspaper. In 1919, he became president of the Black Star Line shipping and passenger company designed to forge a link between North America and Africa and facilitate African American migration to Liberia. In 1923, Garvey was convicted of mail fraud for selling the company's stock, and he was imprisoned in the United States Penitentiary, Atlanta, for nearly 2 years. Many commentators have argued that the trial was politically motivated, and Garvey blamed Jewish people, claiming that they were prejudiced against him because of his links to the KKK. After his sentence was commuted by U.S. President Calvin Coolidge, he was deported to Jamaica in 1927. Settling in Kingston with his wife, Amy Jocks, Garvey established the People's Political Party in 1929, briefly serving as a city councilor. With the UNIA in increasing financial difficulty, he relocated to London in 1935, where his anti-socialist stance distanced him from many of the city's black activists. He died there in 1940, and in 1964, his body was returned to Jamaica for reburial in Kingston's National Heroes Park. Garvey was a controversial figure. Some in the African diasporic community regarded him as a pretentious demagogue, and they were highly critical of his collaboration with white supremacists. His violent rhetoric and his prejudice against mixed-race people and Jews. Nevertheless, he received praise for encouraging a sense of pride and self-worth among Africans in the African diaspora amid widespread poverty, discrimination, and colonialism. In Jamaica, he is widely regarded as a national hero. His ideas exerted a considerable influence on such movements as Rastafari, the Nation of Islam, and the Black Power movement. Salute, Marcus Garvey. The honorable mention today, or tonight, excuse me. Indeed. Son.
All right. Let's go ahead and get into the topic of today, Pops.
Man, hot topic.
Go ahead and let them know what that is.
Yeah, man. We got to talk about the deceit, the falsehood. We got to talk about lies. And, you know, when is it ever a right time to tell a lie, to say something that's not true? And, you know, I want to, you know, delve into, you know, the actual nuances of spreading falsehood versus creating a narrative that can harm, that can damage, and also something in which that's on one side of the spectrum, but then there's another side of the spectrum where lies or little stories that are not true are used to do good. And I just wanted, you know, we talked about this, you know, earlier, and I wanted to share this conversation that we had earlier to the world and get everybody else's, you know, thoughts on one, when is it good to lie? And two, when is it bad to lie? And, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what is it, where is there a thin line, if there is one, when, you know, knowingly not telling the truth to somebody versus, you know, just doing things for the vain sense and doing things for a positive goal. You know what I mean? And just touching bases on the compulsiveness of lying and how people use technology and half truths to sway a narrative in whatever direction that they see fit. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of people out here who blames the government of the United States of telling a lot of falsehood and lies. And so I just want to delve into that, man. If you don't mind. What you think, son?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think we should go ahead and start off with the interpersonal relationship when it comes to dealing with people.
Right. Okay.
And when you're dealing with people, like you said, when are lies a beneficial thing to use with people, and when are they a negative in the sense that you're crossing the line of what it means to say that, okay, what I'm doing does not affect you.
Right.
In a negative sense.
Right.
So dealing with people, we can say, excuse me a second, just gotta turn you up. With dealing with people, I think we were talking about it earlier where we said, I tell you a lie in an intent that's good. So when I look at lies, the lies are just a tool of our language. And depending on, again, how you deal with a tool could be used to hammer in a nail, if it's a hammer, or it can be used to bash the skull of a person. I know that sounds extreme, but those are like what you can do with a tool is wide ranging depending on the person and that mentality of that person and what their intent is.
Right.
So my intent means a lot when it comes to telling a lie, because a lie is only a tool. So we were speaking about how, you may have a birthday party for a child and you don't want them to know yet. So you omit from telling them that you're taking them to a surprise party for them, you know?
Right.
But the intent is to throw them a surprise party.
Right.
You know what happens when the child opens that door at that birthday party and sees everything that's wonderful that's been set up for them? That's a great thing that was that had a lie in it.
Right.
The lie was required to throw that surprise party, and it works in the opposite as well.
Right.
I can lie to you to be deceitful, to gain an advantage because I'm desperate. All these negative things that lies are used for can and will happen in life.
Exactly. And you made a true separation of when it is okay to tell a lie, and brought up the example of throwing a surprise party for somebody, and you tell them to come with you somewhere to go shopping for somebody, and all of a sudden you take them to a separate to a different place, and then voila, there's the surprise. I tricked you, right? And then there are lies in which we all know is a lie, but we seem to have this deceptive intelligence or deceptive persuasion to perpetrate the lie. Example: when you and your brothers and sisters were young, and I came into the belief in the knowledge of self, in the knowledge of holidays, such as Christmas. And when I refused to go along with the lie of there is a Santa Claus, I was immediately, by family and friends, immediately attacked for not going along with the so-called acknowledgement of Santa Claus. And I was told, hey, you shouldn't do that to your children because you celebrated it when you was younger, right? And my response to that was, well, I was led to believe that there was a Santa Claus and that what we are doing around Christmas time is the right thing to do and believe. So if the excuse of continuing the false tale of Christmas to our children is to give them the same experience that we had as children because our parents told that to us, I would say BS. And this is why. Because I still remember when I found out that there was no Santa Claus. And I remember I was heartbroken. I remember I became upset and angry and disappointed because I was led to believe this. And then being led to believe in something and then coming to find out that it was never true in the beginning, that made me look at those who led me to that belief in a different way. And I honestly would say the intention may not have been there to do harm, to sway a narrative that would only benefit them and hurt me in the long run. But that is a sense of, or a set of traumas that as a child, to be told a lie or be told something and led to believe in something and then coming to find out that it was never true, that's a trauma in which children go through that adults don't truly acknowledge themselves because they may have forgotten when they were told that Santa Claus wasn't real. And they, it was like, oh, you know what? He ain't real. Okay, no matter, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna sell that to my children when I have children. But you forget the disappointment, or you forget that you was angry. And then you forget that who you were angry towards. It was your mother or your father. So that psychologically brings in a sense of doubt in anything else that your mother or your father will share with you. Now, you may not even think about it as an adult. We may not even think about it that seriously. But truly, if you really reflect and really remember, take some time to really reflect in your memory bank and really ask yourself, was I listening to my parents after that? Did I take everything that they told me for face value after that? You know what I mean? And you might find some sort of, I really didn't listen to my mom or my father after that as truth speakers. I started opening my mind to other information or to other knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? Now, sure. You being my son, no. If you have a memory of when I changed course and when I told you that there is no Santa Claus, or even there is no such thing as Christmas. Do you have any memory of that, son?
To be honest, not vividly.
Okay.
But I will say I do remember, like you said, the feeling that it did leave me when I did find out. It was a feeling of hurt. Like you go through the stages of grief, in a sense.
Right.
And then like you said, I don't know. I can't say right now if at that time I felt as if, oh, they lied to me about this. What else are they lying to me about?
Well, question.
But that was playing. Yes.
But do you remember when I stopped celebrating Christmas?
Right. Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Now, speak on, if you can remember, was I looked upon as somebody who was telling the truth about Christmas? Or was it told to you, well, your dad doesn't want to celebrate because he has so many kids?
Right. And that, I feel like that is the role of the father, in a sense, to give the children reality, to give them that perspective of these are the really goings on of the environment in which you will live in. It's unfair sometimes, it's cruel sometimes, but I need you to know this for your best survival, because you're not going to be with me always.
Right.
And that responsibility of that, it can be looked upon as sometimes not in the best light.
Right.
But it is necessary.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go into some more. Let's go in deep. Let's tap into some things here. You know what I mean? And discuss. Let's just say when the U.S. government, okay, there was a time of 1990 something where weapons of mass destruction was said to be possessed by Iraq, or I believe Saudi Arabia somewhere, and that was the cause for the president at the time, George Bush, to go to war. Okay.
Good.
And that was put on all media channels, what have you, that Saddam Hussein possesses weapons of mass destruction. I remember Colin Powell confirmed it. The Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, everybody confirmed that weapons of mass destruction was over there in the Gulf. And this is the reason why we have to go to war. And once over there, lives were lost. May Allah be pleased with all those lives that have been lost in that fight. And after the smoke was clear, no weapons of mass destruction was located. Lives were lost over a lie. And to me, that is huge. That is, in my eyes, a reason to be arrested, a reason to be put in prison. Because of that lie, lives were lost. and you spoke about this earlier, in the introduction of this episode, and you specified, the intent. Keyword, the intent. What is the intention of telling this false information? And what is the result of telling that information that is not true and spreading it all over the country and getting people geared onto thinking one way? You know what I mean? Let's delve into that situation just a little bit. I know you're very young, you're 24, so you may not recall all the details. But let's bring something. What you bringing up here, son?
So yeah, speaking on the subject, you brought up the fact of the narrative of what happened with Saddam Hussein,
right?
United States, and forward. And it made me think of, well, why do groups of people, why do people in power, governments, businesses,
right?
Why do they lie? So right here is I just pulled this up real quick. It's 30 reasons why people lie, but this I feel like can be expanded upon just people and
right.
In any situation in your life, whether you're dealing with the government, whether you're dealing with your boss at work, a group of people, whatever. These are why people lie. I'm not going to read the full thing, but I'll read the top 5 and then scroll down from there.
Okay.
People lie to be defensive. People lie to be vindictive. People lie because they lie to manipulate, and they lie to intimidate. And there's some other reasons as well. I'll scroll down first to see them.
Oh yeah, I mean, shoot, man, go ahead and go ahead and read all those jokers, man.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's
yeah.
People lie for attention. People lie for curiosity. People lie for superiority. People lie to avoid. People lie to cover. People lie to control, procrastinate. People lie because they're bored.
You're bored.
People lie because they protect. People lie out of habit. People lie for fun. People lie to seek desires. People lie out of harm, out of sympathy. People lie because they're just lazy. People lie because they're indifferent. People lie because of their perception. People lie to elevate. People lie to impress. People lie to convey. People lie to minimize. People lie to maximize. People lie to suppress. People lie to deny. People lie to hide. Okay.
So out of all 30 of those reasons of lying,
I'd say about 85-90% of them were negative. There were like maybe 3 that were out of the 30 that were,
right.
Well,
let's locate those. Let's scroll up for me, son. So we already know that 1 through 9 is not something positive as a result. It's all negative, right?
No, I wouldn't say so. We have attention seeking here.
Right.
And we were talking about it earlier about how all attention is good attention. If you have good intentions.
Okay.
Right. For me, I read this from a book. This museum that just had opened up wasn't getting much traffic. So what they did, they hired a man to walk around the streets and collect bricks. And the bricks that he was picking up, he would pick them up and then put them down, leading to the museum. So he would do that, and people would look and wonder, what is this man doing?
Right.
And they would follow him to where he was going. He's picking up bricks and putting them back down. And eventually he led them to the museum.
Okay.
And people looked into, now the people's curiosity was built from following this man this whole time, and then they decided to visit the museum. Another situation from the same person actually was, again, he wanted to get more traffic into the museum, so he decided to orchestrate a concert across the street.
Right.
And he intentionally hired the worst music artists he could find in the area, and had them play at this concert. The people didn't like it, obviously.
Right.
And so then he had a set out of like the museum. So people left the concert to go to the museum.
Right.
So I guess for that one, I would say, again, it could. Lying is very interesting. I like that that's our topic for today, because again, it points to the intent of like what you plan to do with the lie.
Right.
Used for good, in that sense of trafficking attention for maybe a business or something like that. As long as the lie does not, again, impede on other people's lives.
Okay. All right. So let's tap into the when a lie is okay in a positive way. Scroll up for me. I don't think it was there.
You said
scroll up, yeah. Okay, boom. To protect. Stop right there. All right. It says there are some lies that are done to protect others. In some cases, a lie is told to take on responsibility for things they are not responsible for in an effort to help someone else. Okay, great example. You know what I mean? An honorable thing, that people will say is, like it says, to protect somebody from chastisement or protect somebody from any type of punishment. You know what I mean? They will call that person honorable. You know what I mean?
All right.
And I agree, right? So, there is a time, obviously, when telling a lie would be okay to do, right? And there was one more. Go back down, because I know it's only 30 of them, so I don't think it was there. Lazy, no. Deny.
Let's see. How about elevate?
Elevate. Well, let's see. A person might want to elevate themselves to another person level up. Well,
not pertaining to self, but if I lie for another to help them along the way, in a sense, maybe we're at the club or something like that, and I got my buddies with me, and I'm trying to be the best wingman I possibly can for my buddy. So I elevate his status, so I hype him up in a sense.
Well.
But again, this does say you do have to tell a lie. Do you lie in that sense as a wingman? Do you lie to hype up your buddy? And is lying to hype up your buddy to, for him to have the best night possible?
Right.
Is that wrong?
Well, I would say.
Where's the line there?
Right. I would say no, because again, it's to help somebody else. But remember, it's also coming at I have to deceive somebody. You know what I mean? And make them think something is real when it really isn't. Even though it's to elevate somebody else. Or if it's to elevate myself. You know what I mean? if I tell a lie to elevate myself, what would be the difference of me telling a lie to elevate someone else? You know what I mean? It's all predicated on an illusion. You know what I mean? You know, putting a picture up in the air and waving it in your eyes for you not to focus on the actual stillness of it, but making it look good. You know what I mean? You know, to me, again, it's what is its purpose. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, all things are predicated on the result of the action or of the words being spread or the words being told. You know what I mean? What is the result? Now, let's say there's deny.
Before we go to deny, I think another one is right here. I just want to start it with these are lies to the extent for the respect of the definition. These are to the extent that it does harm another. It does overstep the boundaries of another person.
Okay.
But I think minimizing does work in cases of maybe a grandparent passes, a family member passes for a child, and when you speak to that child, you don't tell them exactly what happened. You know,
right?
Died and how they died and the extent of, you know, you tell them they're off to a better place. We may not be seeing them anymore and stuff like that.
Right.
Is omitting the truth. But it does, like it says right here, it's a way of reducing the damage, harm, consequences that might otherwise occur. If you were to tell the child the truth of like what actually happened, how that person died, and the horror of that, you know, in a sense, the full truth of it, part of it is, you know, in a sense, gruesome. That may traumatize the child, may cause damage. So you use that to reduce the damage or harm. But again, I'm not taking away from these definitions to due respect or to the extent of that it does cross that line of the respect for the other person.
Exactly. You know, and you know, you brought up not disclosing detail or so much information to a child about, you know, the death of a loved one. Again, back to the children. A child's mind is so easily swayed because it doesn't know. And swaying a child's mind on the thinking of, let's just say, a loss of a family member, you know, some of us may say that's okay to do. However, what about telling or swaying that child's mind into the thinking of something exists that doesn't?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where are we in that point of saying it isn't okay versus maybe it's okay to do, you know, until that child comes into the realization that there is none Santa Claus, you know, or my lost relative really didn't just go away to school or go away, you know, and this is the reason why I'm not seeing them anymore. I'm not seeing them anymore because they passed, they evolved, or they died, you know. And, you know, my thing is, what would be the response and the reaction of that child learning the truth? And would we call that trauma? Is it trauma? Is that child traumatized? You know, to convey, to impress, maximize, suppress. all of these things are in my mind saying in order for somebody to think of me in a certain way, I have to manipulate, the truth. And knowing the truth and intentionally spreading or telling a lie, knowing the truth, to me is automatically wrong. And especially if it comes at and I think one of them said something about harm, right?
All right.
If it comes to the harming of somebody's reputation, if it comes to the harm of the way people look at that individual, because remember, man, I think we had this as a topic in the beginning of our start of this podcast, where a mother told her children, her daughters, that the father molested them. And that particularly made those daughters look at their father in a strange way, because maybe they, just that having that stigma on a man or on your father, you always, whether you believe it or not, it's told to you, so automatically that changes the perception of the relationship. You know what I mean? And come to find out, I believe a lie detector test was taken on the show, and lo and behold, the mother was telling a lie. And I think we talked about this, in that episode, and we talked about the damage and the time, that lapsed, and the damage that was done to the relationship of that father and his daughters because of a lie. And could we forgive, if that person who's telling a lie is genuine in, their apology, but would it have came if the truth wasn't exposed? You know what I'm saying?
Where I just want to speak to that, it's essentially the risk reward to telling a lie. Like we were saying, we were giving the the just due to that. Sometimes there are benefits to telling a lie in rare and specific cases.
Right.
But overall, you should not be, lying. The risk reward to lying is when it comes to the overall effect, if you're taking into consideration not only yourself but other people, is high.
Right.
So again, unless the situation calls for a lie, you know what I'm saying? Just avoid it. Avoid lying.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying like what we were speaking about earlier. I don't want us to our people to out there listening to get it construed that I want you guys to point out like loopholes and I just want to point there are certain situations, but we want to focus on the fact that 9.5 times out of 10 don't lie.
Well, and let me throw something else out there. You meet a young woman, and she has long hair. She has, a body that's like, wow. I won't go into specific details, as men, we can imagine. And, they have different color eyes, and then you see them the next day, or have a little rendezvous at your home or what have you, and things come off. Is that woman being honest, Is that woman telling us the truth by presenting themselves to look a certain way? You know, what would be in that category? Would that be to elevate? Would that be to impress? Right?
Right.
But let's just say the result is, you fall in love. That man looks beyond the artificialness of it and finds out that this woman has a beautiful heart and soul, and they have a lot of things in common, right?
Right.
So the result could be positive, but then it could also be a negative result. For instance, that so-called woman ended up being a transgender. Now, what happens? You know what I mean? The result of it could possibly be harm. Not so much harm in the physical sense to the man, but harm to the other man for telling a lie. And where they fall victim in that would be manipulate. There were some other things in there to mislead, right? But definitely to manipulate. You know what I mean? Then there is a lie in which, me being in the Nation of Islam, we are told of a story of the facts of Master Farad Muhammad knocking on people's door, offering them silk from their brothers and sisters that's in the East. And this was a way in which Allah got people to come out and hear him speak. Because he knew if they heard him, that some of them would, listen, adhere, and change their life for the better. So, in a way, that was in a sense of a manipulating type of tactic. But the intention, as we specified earlier, the intention and motive was to produce a positive result for those individuals who were manipulated, so to speak, to come out and hear. You know what I mean?
Or
so, that's what we were told. You know what I mean? So in a way,
yeah, like and if you can use a lie to essentially, like that's part of, I think that falls under the intention scheme.
Right.
But the intent behind it was for good.
Right.
In that case, speaking about our people, it is really hard to get our attention on a scale. So Master Farad Muhammad, being the intelligent man that he is, decided to come up with what said is a lie to get their attention,
right,
for good intentions. That's what I was saying earlier. If you're lying, and the intent is a good intent, then it's good. Right. We live in a world, I think, which is amazing, where good people and bad people have the ability to do good things and bad things with good intent and bad intent.
Right.
So a good person can use the tools of what is deemed negative in the intent of good. A bad person can use the tools of good, like telling the truth, with the intent of doing wrong.
Right. So what would be your example of that?
I think that's a good one. For example, I say to you, Pops, that your brother was talking about you. Uncle Tori was talking about you, and he told me some things about you, about your past, when you were growing up and stuff. And I tell you what he told me. But the reason I tell you is because maybe I want you to be mad at Uncle Tori, because he made me upset yesterday. I had no intention on telling you before, but he made me upset. So now I'm gonna decide to tell you what he told me. And I may not tell you all of what he told me in the context of what he told me, but I will tell you just enough to where you're upset now with Uncle Tori.
Okay. Yeah, that's a that's a good example. Making somebody, right? Well, that's the changing of the perception.
Word.
For spiteful reasons. And again, here's the intention. You know what I mean? The intention is, your feelings was hurt, so therefore you seek or sought out revenge. You know what I mean? Because that's a spiteful thing to do. You know what I mean? Knowing that will play on my emotion, and that would create, friction between myself and my brother.
You know what's interesting, Pops? I'm thinking about is like within lies, a very good lie has truths in it.
How so?
If you really want to lie to someone, you gotta tell them a little bit of the truth.
Mixing truth with falsehood.
But it works. But the intent, like we said, we were talking about. But it works the opposite way, like you said, with the example of Master Founder Muhammad, where his desire was to tell truth.
Right.
But in order to tell the truth, he had to use lies.
Yeah. In order to get the people out. You know what I mean? And one other thing that was in a sense of a manipulating type of tactic was how Master Farah Muhammad came into America. And what type of, because remind you, this was, back in the early 1900s. So anybody coming from the East to the West, let's just say they were, darker complected than ourselves, they were immediately sent back, or they were immediately blocked, from entering into the country. You know what I mean? Because racism was very, more extreme as far as, flamboyant and out there. And also, again, the Messiah, or in the Bible and Holy Scriptures, it said that the sun will rise in the east and set in the west, and the Savior will come from the east and settle in the west. You know what I mean? So people were looking for, somebody coming from the east, You know what I mean? And then somewhere in the scripture it says, he came like a thief in the night. You know what I mean? A thief would be categorized as a liar. Because if you will steal, you will lie. If you will lie, you will steal. Right?
Still, and someone asks you, whose is that? You have to say, it's mine.
Right. But in that sense, in the sense of, Master Farad, it was in the sense of I'm motivated to help people versus to enslave them, versus to take over their land. You know what I mean?
Hey, Pops, I don't know if you know of the story. It's an analogy of trying to wake people up. But there's 3 people in a cave, trapped in a cave. They've been there their whole lives. The cave. One wanders out of the cave and is down to the world that we see outside. The sun, clouds, everything's beautiful.
Right.
Runs back into the cave to let the others know what he's seeing. They don't believe him. They refuse to leave the cave because that's all they've known.
Right.
He told them the truth.
Right.
They wouldn't listen. He had good intention. He tried to tell them the truth. They wouldn't leave the cave. And that makes me think and wonder, like, what if you had, lied a little bit or try to manipulate them to come out of the cave?
Right.
What he has seen.
He would have seen the truth.
They would have seen the truth.
Damn, that's a great. That's dope. That's dope. You know what I mean? There's also the lie of I want to do harm to my enemy. And so therefore I will, give a little truth, and like you said, give a little bit of fabrication in that truth. And I will pose myself as this individual, and then throw some truth along with some falsehood in this image that I know that when people see this image and hear these words, that they will automatically believe that those words are true because of the source and the image that is coming from. Satan told Allah that I will come in their straight path. What do you mean by that, Satan? He already meant that I will come in their straight path, meaning I will come in the light of truth. But he will have us so confused that we wouldn't even know what the truth is because of the fact of lies being told to us for so long, and that how that we are disconnected, you know what I mean, from the truth, that we wouldn't even know the truth if it smacked us in the face. So it's sort of like when the vampire comes knocking on your door. He's not specifying that he's a vampire and that his goal is to suck your blood. But you have to invite him in because that's the only way he can enter and suck your blood. as if he's invited in. So he knocks on your door. He has to appear in the light of good, just so you can welcome him in. But he has ulterior motives. Just like when the European came to North America, they came appearing to be friendly, but they had ulterior motives. You know what I mean? So a disguise, a false disguise has to be put on in order for somebody to move about. You know what I mean? They use sometimes agents, you know what I mean, who look like those people that he's infiltrating, but he has an ulterior motive. You know what I mean? So here goes the lies of the imagery, and also we gotta, I have to throw in there the lie of Jesus the Christ. You know what I mean? Being of European, persuasion. But where was he born? Look at the people in that area of the world. But it's still propagated and still pushed out there until the truth is exposed. You know what I mean? And it's I mean, what do you think about that, man?
Yeah. When it comes to this government and speaking to the United States, it was built on lies. When it comes to my perspective and on my people, it was built on a lie to deceive us in many ways, servitude into a place of harm, place of respect, and without good intentions.
Right.
And to say that those intentions have changed now from then would be very hard to believe, because the initial intent was bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one ever lies with bad intent and then continues. It says, you know what, I'm going to continue to lie, but this time I'm going to lie with good intent.
Nah, nobody ever, it can you even, alter the motive or the intention of bad to good when you tell a lie? You know what I'm saying? Let's just say the person have a change of heart and they don't, have those ill feelings, you know what I mean? But, they said something to make another person look bad, you know what I mean? And that person says, you know what, I wasn't being honest, when,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how can that person redeem themselves and become a truth-sayer again and a believable person? You know what I mean?
From the U.S. government, our government has not sought out redemption for, as it's told, has not given this.
Right.
They have no reason not to lie to us, because we have not put them in a position to take responsibility for those lies. And if we look at the behavior now and the behavior that they had then, their behavior has not changed. Their heart has not changed.
Right. And that is easy to be displayed basically by not putting George Bush in prison. or not bringing him up on charges, or even anybody else in his cabinet that threw those lies out there that there was weapons of mass destruction. You know what I'm saying? Or even, let's just, the woman who claimed that Emmett Till disrespected her or whistled at her, whatever she said, that got him murdered. You know what I mean? Where's the justice in those lies? You know? Or even the lie of when a woman says she was raped by a man. You know what I mean? When is that being justified? When is the justice, corrected? You know what I mean?
And a lot of times in those cases, even when the justice does come, the damage has already been done.
Damage is already done. Like, you know what I mean? Just think about, a man or a woman being accused of pedophilia. You know what I'm saying? Which is the most, one of the most, harshest accusations you could put on somebody. You know what I mean? Like I talked about earlier, with the father, was told about, that he molested his daughters, man. Like, even when it was exposed that it was all a lie, you know what I mean? What about the damage of that stigma that people was thinking about him and still want to think of him in that way, because they just say, you know what? Even though I know the truth now, I've been thinking about that, thinking of him in that way for so long. It's embedded in my DNA to look at him in that way. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, we have to be very careful, man. You know what I mean? And always and jumping to a word, because right now this is a day and age of fact checking. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to Donald Trump, now we have fact checks. You know what I'm saying? So you can't make a claim and not have any receipts to back those claims. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something that's so derogatory and slanderous. You know what I mean? And it's you have to come up with the proof, man. You gotta show and prove. You can't just say anything anymore and think that nobody's going to question you about the truthfulness of it. You know what I mean? The accuracy of it. You know what I mean? Give me receipts. Show me. You know what I mean? You can't just tell me something. You know what I mean? You gotta prove it to me. No more of you pointing a finger at somebody or people and claiming them to be an enemy of the state because they did X, Y, and Z. This is not going to be any more weapons of mass destruction, and you know what I mean, and you're not going to be questioned. You know what I'm saying? But then when you are questioned, you get upset. How dare you question me in my word? Well, you have a reputation of being a liar. You know what I mean? How dare you to even question me, to even questioning you? Because, there's a track record. You know what I'm saying? You can go to court for a traffic violation, and the first thing the judge is going to ask is, let me see his record. Let me see her record. Oh, you have a history of driving on the wrong side of the street, and now you're being charged for driving on the wrong side of the street. What do you think I'm going to think? What do you think the judge is going to assume? You know what I'm saying? That's based off of your record. So, and then we have, man, I'm just saying, we can't just be a victim of being told things and then we just don't do our own research. We don't do our own fact checking. If this person or this people or the media says something about, Russia, You know what I mean? Remember, man, not everything that is told is the truth, because there are things that there's a pattern of words or description of a characteristic of a black man that isn't true. That we're violent, we're hedonistic, where if you walk by us, we'll take your purse. You know what I'm saying? And people will actually bite into that, stereotype, and would assume that all black men and some women, well, black women have attitudes. You know what I mean? That's false. You know what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is, let's not be a victim of, falling into the fairy tales of make believe. You can't make me believe anything. You know what I mean? You have to prove what you're saying is true. What you got, son?
No, I disagree with most of what you just said. Yeah, it's just, like we've been talking about, they have damaging effects
Right.
that are used for. And I think what you what I've gotten from what you were saying is that this need to lie for the harm to the detriment of others for your benefit is a mentality, and that mentality is shared by groups of people. And when groups of people en masse, or groups of people with enough influence decide to get together and decide to lie with the intent of harm for the benefit for themselves, is happening in this world as we speak.
Right.
And I hope people are awake to that, and hopefully what we're doing right now is shining a light on how that takes place.
Absolutely.
And that capacity, whether you believe it or not, that you can say that you don't believe that this government is doing that, but I doubt you can deny that the government has the capacity to do that. That there are groups of people of influence that have the capacity to do that. And I just want people we want people to be aware that people do have this capacity to use these tools against you, whether they be an individual person, a group of people, a group, a government. It does not matter. That opportunity for people to manipulate, deceive, and harm you, friends, family, is there.
Right. Amen.
I feel on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's this. Man, I gotta hear some perspectives, man. Like, where's everybody with this? You know what I'm saying? Who else has anything to chime in? You know what I mean? Leave a comment.
Amari, he says, think about all these landlords that rent out houses with mold and roaches you don't see when you first move. In a week or two, you start seeing them after the system.
Right. So that would be under the category of hiding. Right?
Exactly.
Hiding the truth, hiding the fact of, I have roaches. You know what I'm saying? In my unit, or in my units, I have roaches in the building. You know what I'm saying? So now, when I want to show it off, when I want to, there's an empty unit that I want to show, a couple or whatever, but I lay some things down which, hides the roaches for a period of time. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Correct that. You know what I'm saying? That's manipulation. You know what I mean? Come on. You know, there's other things out there. You know, I mean, we could go on, and I know it's late. You know what I mean? We jumped on here.
We're doing ourselves, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, it's
a good conversation.
Yeah, we just wanted to have this, finally put out there, you know what I mean? As far as, lying and people who lie, governments who lie, and, nothing is ever brought to the light and justice be served. You know what I'm saying? I want to see this woman who, was responsible for having Emmett Till murdered. You know what I'm saying? They've already, with the Breonna Taylor situation, I can't forget that. Wow. 4 cops, you know what I mean, were charged. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In the false warrant of, what happened with Breonna Taylor? You know what I mean? Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I have to say, and I will say this, it doesn't matter, who accepts this or not. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been teaching, warning, leading us for over 60 years. And not one time has that man been proven to be a liar. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in all of his words, in the books of his words, have not once been proven to be a lie. Not one. I mean, people can dispute it all they want, but unless you can say without a shadow of a doubt, with receipts, that this is a lie. He said it. Here's his words. Here's the actual facts. He's now proven to be a liar. That has not been done. Say what you want. Call him what you want. But you cannot, without a shadow of a doubt, tell the world with a straight face that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and everything that the Nation of Islam has specified and told the world for over 90 years, they are liars.
Word.
You cannot.
Pops, I just want to say, thinking that the worst thing that can happen to someone that's lying is that the truth is exposed.
I mean, a lie, takes on a life. Mm-hmm. Pay very close attention to this. A lie is born once it is spoken out somebody's mouth. Nobody knows how long a life will last. I don't know how long my life will last. You don't know how long your life will last. A lie has an expiration period. So once it's born, it will die as soon as truth is exposed. Right. Then that lie can never be resurrected ever again. Only if you go way yonder to people who don't know. And then you can, kick up the lie once again, but you cannot ignore that there is truth waiting to kill the lie.
Right. Because the truth is the death of the lie.
Yes.
For the liar, the worst thing is the truth, or someone speaking the truth. when it comes to Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, we know him to be a teller of the truth.
I mean, you don't yeah. You throw Elijah Muhammad in there too.
Yeah,
you said it right, son. Yeah,
the teller of the truth. We know he's the teller of the truth. So, any enemy of him, when it comes to the truths that he speaks, must be a liar.
Right. Because why else would they shut him out?
The only enemy to the truth is a lie.
Exactly.
Because the lie is, its life, like you said, is determined on the truth not being exposed. That is what that lie ends. So the lie manifested in the person, the liar, their survival at that time now predicated on the lie. We were I'm happy I've actually said this. We were talking the other day. We were researching pathological liars. Where do they come from? Like, where do these people?
Pull that definition, son.
Spoke on essentially, these people are born in an environment where lying is the tool of survival, and it's a necessity for that person's survival. So people are grown up in environments where they are unfortunately have to use lies to survive in that environment.
Right.
And once they become adults, they're in an adult world, and now all they know is lying is what is gonna keep me alive.
Right. Right. So there's a very
that person lives a full life, never learning that that behavior needs to stop. They live a life to the extent that they have children. They teach their children the same thing they know, just to lie,
right, to
survive. And the worst thing that can happen out of that is that this continues on and on forever down that person's line of lineage.
Right.
That they live to survive, to lie, and they pass that down on to the next generations. That's the worst case scenario.
Right.
That worst case scenario can become a reality. It has become a reality.
Yes. Let me read this definition of truth. Truth is objective, meaning that it is not based on the perception of human beings, which is capable of wavering. Truth is simply that which is. It is that which has occurred in the past and that which is occurring in the present. We brought up Mr. Farrakhan. The things that he said in the past are the things that are currently happening to this day. How do you know if somebody's telling the truth? Look at the result of what they're speaking about. Look at the result of what they have warned people about. You know what I'm saying? Do the research. Don't be a lazy researcher and allow somebody else to do all the work for you. Think that, oh, okay, because somebody is showing me this, you know what I mean, this is all that it is. No. You could put the minister on from any era and he will be speaking to you as if it is today. Go back to 1985. Go back to 1980. Go back to 1990. Go back to 1995. Go back to 2000. Everything that the man has been speaking on and warning us about it seems it is current. That's truth. That's truth. A history of stating the truth. There is no history of that man lying. You know what I mean? So when he says, don't take that, you know what, in the criterion of 2020, when he warned the whole world, don't take that concoction that they coming up with. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of people was like, how dare he's not a doctor? How dare he tell people not to take that jab? Now,
Hey, Pops, you think we can play that video?
I mean, of course. If you got it real quick.
What was the name of the organization that the doctors were a part of in that video?
What you want? The CDC? When they changed the guidelines?
It was the one you sent me. It wasn't the CDC. It was an acronym though. I just don't remember what the acronym was.
What I sent you on IG?
Yeah.
Hold on. This is the opinion of top medical experts exhibited at the Global COVID Summit.
The Global COVID Summit, right?
Yeah. Yo, I'm be right back. I gotta find my charger.
Take your time. Go ahead, go for us. And this is a good time. Just go ahead and say if you guys are enjoying the video, go ahead and leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It does a lot for our channel. It shows us that you guys are supporting us. Then any donations that you guys want to give, you can go ahead and hit the description link box below the video, and there you can leave any donation of your choosing. And again, it will be much appreciated, and we want to make this show as interactive as possible. So again, we'd love it if you guys leave comments. If you have questions, we'd more than be happy to answer them during the live. If you comment as well, and if they're respectful and stuff, we'll get to them for sure. I'll go ahead and put up. Okay, he's much of it.
All right.
Oh, you got Pops. I wonder if I can hold that video.
Oh, shit. You playing on IG?
Yeah, that's up on the top right now. I would try to screen share it on my phone, but I don't see the option. So hopefully it'll just let me log on laptop.
Yeah, man. We just gotta, we can't address all the fallacies and the trickeries and the lies of history. But certain things, are have already been debunked, have already been, exposed as a lie. And, but this right here, about this, about this jab thing, man, even about, I would just say, UFOs, you know what I'm saying? They were told that they don't exist, but then you make movies about them, and you sway the description of who's controlling and operating them to look like monstrous, entities. But they know they know the truth. You know what I'm saying? They know who's operating these planes in the sky, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad specified who is, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan specified who is operating them, and they know. Do your research so you can know. Don't listen. Don't take my word for it. Take the words of the truth tellers. You found it?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign in now.
All right.
Be able to play this. So as soon as I get on my screen, I'll be able to share it.
All right. Yeah, let's show this one thing, man, and let's call it a night.
Word.
End the show on something provocative and exposing this crazy stuff, man. It's wild.
All right, so I can't pull it up. That's unfortunate.
Can't pull it up?
No. I tried to find it on YouTube as well, but couldn't find it.
Well, it sucks, man. Just you know what I mean? Share it. You want me to share it on Instagram?
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, post it on our Instagram. Let's do this. I will.
Here you go.
We declare, and the data confirm.
Oh, you messed it up. Go ahead, start it over.
Can you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
We declare, and the data confirm, that the COVID-19 experimental genetic therapy injections must end. We believe, and we've observed, that these products do not prevent infection, replication, and transmission of Omicron. The vast majority of COVID infections are in those who've been vaccinated. The data now show that vaccination increases the risk of infection by Omicron. What has not been performed by the pharmaceutical industry is the
Pops, I think we lost you. Invite you back in.
Yo.
What happened?
My iPad died, man. I plugged it in. It still died on me, man. I'm on the phone now, man.
Word.
But yeah, you got it on your Instagram, man. Go ahead and just show it.
All right.
Yeah. Mari said they don't want us to see that video.
I'll have to turn the phone and then pull it up on that way. So you don't. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. I charged it and everything. It's charged in. Look, it is still died on me. Oh man, these people, man. I don't know if my son told you, everybody, but please like, share, subscribe to the show. There you go. This is fair use. You know, we gotta knock out falsehood with the bag full of truth bricks. You know what I mean? Let's go, man.
Yeah, it won't let me turn the camera back on my laptop. They really.
So, what, you on your phone right now?
Yeah, it's on my phone playing right now.
Oh, man.
Like the laptop won't even turn on. I can't up.
Oh, shucks. Well, look, man. We'll play it again on the next episode, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, look on the Instagram.
The main gist of it was heard. You know,
Huh?
The main gist of it was heard.
Oh.
Oh, hold on a second. Maybe we'll be able to play. All right, my camera's gonna change right now. I'll at least play the audio.
Okay.
This one.
All right. It's all about integrity, man. You know what I mean? Have some integrity. Integrity is proven. All right? You change cameras. Yeah. I can hear you a little bit.
How about now?
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good.
Word. All right, let me go ahead and pull up on my Instagram.
All right.
Here we go.
We declare, and the data confirm, that the COVID-19 experimental genetic therapy injections must end. We believe, and we've observed, that these products do not prevent infection, replication, and transmission of Omicron. The vast majority of COVID infections are in those who've been vaccinated. The data now show that vaccination increases the risk of infection by Omicron. What has not been performed by the pharmaceutical industry is the required full battery of safety, toxicology, pharmacokinetic testing. Where does the RNA go and how long does it last in your body? The same is true with no viral vectors. The distribution of the mRNA or the adenoviral vectors and the resulting spike protein toxicology has not been well characterized, and we do not understand even now what is happening in patients that receive these quasi-vaccines. We strongly recommend that these products now and in the future be regulated as the gene therapy products that they are, and require public involvement of the FDA's gene therapy scientists and committees in reviewing and approving these drugs. We believe that it's necessary to reestablish the 5-year minimum FDA testing period and to cease the emergency use authorization and full FDA licensure of all novel medical products used for COVID-19. We also strongly recommend that there be investigations of the actual causes of death and damage to millions who have been subjected to these mandatory mRNA and adenoviral vector gene therapy injections. And we also strongly recommend that the FDA acknowledge and investigate that the pseudouridine containing synthetic mRNA-like genetic material persists in the body for 60 days or longer and produces spike protein at levels higher than is observed with the actual SARS-CoV-2 infection. This is well documented in a recent publication from January from the Cell, and this needs to be backed up by additional rigorous studies to characterize how long the genetic material remains in your body after you've been vaccinated or received the product, and how long and at what level the spike protein continues to persist. Furthermore, vaccine-associated adverse event assessments must be recalculated to reflect the actual time that the RNA stays in your body and continues to produce the spike protein, 60 days or longer. It is not adequate to only consider short-term adverse events as related to the vaccine. We must acknowledge that the genetic COVID-19 genetic injections cause far more harm than good and provide zero benefit relative to risk for the young and healthy. They do not reduce COVID-19 infection, which is treatable and not terminal. Further, the most recent data demonstrates that you are more likely to become infected or have disease or even death if you've been vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated people. This is shocking to hear, but it is what the data are showing us. The data now show that these experimental gene therapy treatments can damage your children as well as yourself. They can damage your heart, your brain, your reproductive tissue, and your lungs. This can include permanent damage and disablement of your immune system.
So that was that. Let me go ahead and switch back. You can go ahead and speak on
All
your
right.
thoughts.
Yo, man. We've been warned. We've been told. And, you know, it's sad, man. It's sad that a lot of us took that crap thinking that we were going to lose our job, thinking that we were promised something. Because remember, man, when it first came out, that you know, there were incentives. There were incentives for taking a shot. They were offering money. They were offering even joints. I remember it was like, you know, a joint for a jab. But offering money at first. So they was giving us, you know, things to persuade us, to convince us to take it. And then they said it's not good enough because not a lot of them are getting it. So now let's take away things. Let's take away their ability to travel. Let's take away their ability to work and survive by taking them off of their job. And people suffered, man. They suffered. And because of the fear that was instilled in the media, that was perpetrated by those who were convinced that the media was telling the truth, that they were convinced that the only doctor that we saw was Dr. Fauci, and that any other doctor with another opinion was suppressed. I mean, yo, man, yo, I'm not going to insult anybody who did decide to take that. I would not dare to, gloat or say anything other than what is the truth. I pray for you. I pray for you, and I hope that you just don't take the words coming from the media face value. That you get a second opinion. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you go to the doctor and you diagnose with something terminal, get a second opinion. Go to see a doctor that is not, go see another type of doctor. You know what I mean? Go see a holistic doctor or somebody who has holistic healing qualifications. You know what I mean? Because what is prescribed, as far as what we get from the drugstore is just that. It's drugs. The true medicine comes from the earth, not the factory. That's the truth. And whether you like it or not, truth hurts. But sometimes it goes down well with a glass of water. And on that note, I'm done. What you got? What you got, son? Can't hear you. Salute, everybody. Say something. I can't hear you. I don't know if anybody else can. You good?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, you good. You good. Yeah, close this out, man.
I'm just gonna use this to close this out. But yeah, I just want to leave it at where you stated. That was a good way to end the wonderful conversation we just had. If you guys are out there, this has been another episode 2 Treys podcast. We hope you enjoyed the educational presentation that we've given you guys today. I've learned a lot through this conversation. I hope you guys have too. With that, I hope you guys stay tuned. This has been episode 31. So we have more to come for you guys. So stay tuned. Pops,
I think you got.
If we can, go ahead.
I think you got 30. I think you got 35 on there as far as the episode. If you want to go ahead and correct
really?
that.
Yeah. Episode 31.
Yeah.
Edit that, get title for us, and yeah. Let me. I was gonna see if I can play the song for.
Oh, you made the finishing touches.
If it doesn't, we'll just drop it off and be out of here.
Yeah. We got.
Not necessarily. I just couldn't sit on it anymore.
Oh, all right. Yeah, just let it go, man. Just let it go, man. See how what I mean. Gotta get
to be honest,
man.
Yeah,
just let it go, man.
Sometimes you sit on stuff too long,
Yeah. Just let it go, man.
I still have
it go.
Polished one coming, but
Right. It's fire, man.
It won't let me show it. It won't let me show it.
They won't let you play it?
Let's see. Not at the moment.
Oh, man.
Let's see if I try again.
But yo, man, just want to say, man, we want to have a few special guests come by in upcoming episodes of Two Trey podcasts. You know what I mean? Stay tuned. You know what I mean? We just started, man. So, things are aligning themselves, and I look forward to the future, man. Things look very bright. We got a few very, very special guests that have reached out, and they want to put themselves on our platform, man. You know what I mean? Inshallah. Where you at, son? Well, look, this has been another Two Trey podcast episode, number 31. I'm Pop Trey. My oldest, my firstborn is son Trey. Yo, it's 12:30. I would just say, peace and love. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. We out. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe, please.